Woohoo! Come on, put us on the screen, baby. Bummer about the dark space after the opening, but we are here. Uh, Skylar Thomas, Jack Gescheit of the Tree Spirit Project, and boy, do we have a full show for you today.
Indeed, we do. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. So, big thanks to Jack for going out and getting some footage that is going to be the primary topic of the show today. And obviously, thanks to Laura Cunningham for going out there as well. And I'm going to put a hat on because of my showered, greasy looking head. Geez, Jack. Good work, by the way. And good work, Laura. And we've got this that I want to make bigger for people just real quick. And we were just talking before we started that it's hard to tell the difference between a lot of these places as you're going by. You got to like make mental notes because they all in common have what?
Are you asking the audience or me?
You.
Well, there's one word I chose to use in that graphic. They're all hammered. They all look very much the same with dilapidated buildings and just pulverized, desiccated, weed infested, organic, small heritage family farms.
And what's really sad is this is not nearly as bad of a photo as could have been chosen. Like it gets uglier. It gets worse. Like there's vast tracts where there's not green at all.
As we'll get into it, it's a really tricky thing, Skylar, and you know this. I mean, you knew it before. You're the one actually that your film, as I always say for you, and I want to give you credit just constantly, is The Shame of Point Reyes, the film that I saw and turned me on to what I was driving by at Point Reyes. You can drive right by this stuff and not really see it. And even when I take a photograph of it, which I know I'm going to show on this show, it's hard to convey what it feels like to be standing there and looking at this stuff in person. It just does not translate. Even and video will be better, but it's still not the same.
No, it's not. When I was out there with Chitkus, I remember us just standing there, and we both almost at the same time said, "God, the land hurts. You can feel the land hurts." Yeah. And which I hate to jump the gun, but it's hard for me not to mention the flawed plan of the Nature Conservancy to heal by continuing to hurt. And we're gonna get to that a little bit, people. But I couldn't help but notice that you have kind of changed your tune a little bit. You were more optimistic about it being good, but you're recognizing how flawed part of their plan is, at least part of their plan.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the glass half empty, half full thing. If you want to focus on how empty it is, it's incredibly maddening. Well, let me start. I choose. I mean, it's a choice, so I don't get depressed as an activist to see what's positive, and which is, wow, the Nature Conservancy, God bless them, came up with money. In fact, this was on the there's still an activist group for Point Reyes, of course. We're not going anywhere. We need to still be active. If we all just disappeared and retreated and said, hey, we won, the cows would be back in there. I mean, I predict within, I don't know, a year or two. I mean, just the forces of darkness would just keep pushing more commercial cows for profit into Point Reyes Seashore. Mm-hmm. So, hey, it's terrific. We won. The Nature Conservancy, golly gosh, aren't they a wonderful partner? Came up with $30 to $40 million and paid the ranchers to go. And of course, it's disgusting that they have to be paid a second time. So that's good. But of course, the bad is the Nature Conservancy, one of their plans is to bring cows in to keep the weeds down. And of course, the so-called weeds, I'm throwing that term around pretty loosely at the moment, are there because of cows. So as Ken Belay said, when I was there in the park last Tuesday making these pictures, and the video you were kind enough to wade through and edit to show folks today, they're pitching the problem as the solution. The problem is cows.
Not only is the ranch land itself an astonishing testament to being the problem, but you also have the sections of Point Reyes National Seashore that aren't ranch that are screaming, hey, look, this is what you should do. I mean, no one at the Nature Conservancy could take those simple of steps.
You know, there's so many conversations here, my friend. I got a very gentle email from someone in Defense of Animals saying, hey, shouldn't we folks reach out to the Nature Conservancy and work with them and educate them? And, sure, this absolutely needs to be done. I'm not the guy to do it. I don't have the patience for it because it's dealing with bureaucracy. And a simple summation, and I think it's accurate to say, the Nature Conservancy gets a lot of its donations from the cattle industry indirectly. They're
Yeah.
buying up private lands and they're working
Yep.
with cattlemen. So of course they're not going to come out and do stuff against the cattle industry. That's seismic. They don't dare do that.
People always have these sorts of suggestions. When the Nature Conservancy wasn't involved, people would tell us, "Oh, you got to work with the Park Service," or "Have any of you sat down with the ranchers?" Like, shut up! You'd go do it. Stop pretending like these are reasonable people that can't wait for you to reach out a hand to them. Anyway, let's. I want to. Speaking of being thankful, I want to acknowledge the people that are already active in the chat. Some of our regulars, Ray Cooper. Looking forward to the show, he says, and we're glad to have you here. Corinne, hi kids. Lynn Klein, hello, and John Spear. John Spear does some pretty nice research on his own. And thank you, John, for being here. And Leah is here. Exactly. You go do it. So naive. Thank you for being with me, Leah.
Well, let me just say, you, Leah, and the great Gary Yourofsky are of a piece, and I'm around the fringes of that, which is like I don't have the patience and the personality to play politics, and nor today, by the way, a big obituary I saw in the Times this morning. Robert Redford, the great Robert Redford, filmmaker, artist, and an activist. He didn't like that word. He lived in Utah, but he was for sure. I mean, there's so much good work he did, and not just starting Sundance Film Festival, but the films he made too. Absolutely an activist at heart by what he made. But he also, there's a few bits in the obituary about him like, no, I'm not going to. He was a baseball player. It's why he was good in The Natural, the film, Caleb Deschanel's film. And he said he didn't do it in the video. It was a short bit saying he couldn't deal with the politics.
Huh.
The bullshit it's a business, of course, and he just didn't want to deal with it. I don't know the story behind that. And I do want to also thank John. Thanks for showing up today, man. I do appreciate your research, as Skylar said. So there might be even times when we'll tap on you for some facts. I'm not as detailed and great with facts. I'm a good overview maker and generalist, which has its place too. And that's back to your point, Skylar and Leah and Gary, wherever you may be. There are people who need to play politics and get in there and do that. That's the job of a politician. It's a necessary job. It's just not one a lot of us are suited for. And there aren't as many people being activists where you just speak the full truth, uncompromised, on the front lines, like today, young Zoe Rosenberg Rooster Rosenberg, who's up in court now because she rescued a few chickens. And she's, tried as a criminal starting today, which will be like a month-long trial for pulling, tortured chickens out of a free-range organic chicken ranch up in Petaluma or wherever it was in Sonoma County. So we need the frontline activists more than we need politicians because there are fewer politicians. And of course, we need good politicians too. So there's my morning rant. We need all players, and you got to find the role that's best suited to your personality and your degree of patience. There's the nail in that coffin.
Two warm-ups before we get to the photos that Jack took and the video footage that he took. It's going to be pretty raw, but raw works just fine when the evidence is this damning. Corinne says that the trial of the person you just mentioned started yesterday. That's how it is here. Yeah. We condemn the merciful and prop up those who spread hate as martyrs.
Right. Who would Jesus prosecute?
Depends. Are we talking about Trump's Jesus or actual Jesus?
Actual Jesus. the one and only Son of God. Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm not even going to mention the trigger name.
Keep us moving, Skylar. Keep us moving.
Okay. Even Sonoma County Fest says no video in my speech. Oh my God. AKA true footage of what happens to animals in farms. Well, yeah, you wouldn't want people to wake up to reality and, be offended by seeing what they eat.
So, hey, a plug for Sonoma County Veg Fest. It's not this coming weekend, it's the weekend after. It's the 27th, one day up in Santa Rosa at the Veterans Building. It's on my website under events. You can Google it, but it's a worthwhile event. It's a community of vegans. I did a group hike with a bunch of vegans in Oakland, in the Oakland Hills this past Saturday. And it was great to just be with another, God, it was like 20 people. And I was like probably the oldest guy there, which is encouraging. I mean, I sometimes make fun of what I call cupcake vegans, people who just eat a vegan diet and don't say boo about it in public. But when I'm among them, and this is a mix of activists as well, it's great. I mean, it's like people who get it and are really just more compassionate toward all animals, not just the human ones.
I think it's encouraging that you can still walk and get around. It gives me some hope for my future. Good job, Jack.
Because of our big age difference, buddy. Anytime you want to go for a run and a race, you let me know, old man. I got about 3 years yet, and then it's all going to break and collapse and fail.
I'll challenge you to actual sports events, and you can beat me in the running. Here is, after mentioning Leah, I'm going to put something on the screen as one of our warm-ups. But before we move on entirely from Trump,
were we there?
Aren't I mentioned the Alabama farmers praying to God and begging Trump for handouts. Isn't that socialism?
Yes. That's the government.
So it's okay for them. It's okay for them.
Well, I mean, that's since Michael Moore was doing documentaries. It's capitalism for the poor and socialism for the rich. We've got social welfare programs from the government, and we always have. And this is the level of education in this country, which ain't very high, and it's going lower. It's going lower.
Ray says, "I hear the humane washing machine will be there." Is he talking about Veg Fest?
Some lunatic is doing this weird display called the Humane Washing Machine, whatever the hell that is, and that's going to be at the Sonoma County Veg Fest in 2 weekends.
Is that you?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Does anyone want to disagree with what we say on here? Go ahead and put it in the chats. I start to feel like I have Donald Trump's press room where only the people that are going to throw him slow balls and compliment him in their questions are allowed in the room. You're allowed to disagree with those people. So put them in the chats.
It's not so much that they're
not going to have you fired or make you and your data disappear.
I like to think of it as, not to be impolite or impolitic, but it's not so much as they're throwing him slow balls. It's they're just bent over licking them the whole time.
Wow, Jack went further than me.
I don't know what you mean.
All right. So, Leah, Jack, this one is your fault.
Leah, this is Leah's. I love it.
Your fault.
Leah, the activist. God bless her.
Okay. So, these guys had to send me this morning, and it is absolutely relevant to today's topic because of the wonderful illusion of the grass-fed pasture raised meat, and somehow for the lowest prices. All it costs is the planet in the future. Wild Pastures delivers meat from regenerative American family farms to your doorstep for less. Of course. I mean,
can you scroll down and show more of this masterpiece of advertising and marketing? It is just, it's so, I was thinking to go back to eating meat because it was such a pretty sell. No, really, it's just jaw dropping. And
I was actually thinking that in order to promote meat now, all you have to do is have a really good website.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because no one's going to go and look and find out if you're lying. So just make your lies look really, really good.
I was taught when I was working in advertising, I was taught that it's, you're selling the sizzle, not the steak, oddly enough, a meat metaphor, but it's, I mean, in this case, people want to consume the ad. They want to believe this to keep, they don't have to change. They can keep eating meat because there's this good stuff. It's what goes on here in wealthy, educated, environmentally minded Marin County. People, well, I just get the good stuff. I get the Nyman Ranch free range organic beef. Here we go. The wild pastures difference. 100% of our meat is raised on pastures by family farmers in the USA using regenerative farming practices. The result is healthier meat that is better for the planet. And then it just, even the center one there underneath that leaf symbol, beyond sustainable, whatever the fuck, excuse me, whatever the heck that means, we're regenerative, exclamation point. All of our farmers utilize regenerative farming practices in order to raise healthy animals in a way that is beneficial to the ecosystem and the environment. Like, wow, sign me up. I want a box of that meat.
I I almost have to thank the ranchers of Point Reyes for being as bad as they were, because they're the ultimate proof that it's all bullshit. Because Point Reyes is supposed to be the model.
The
Well, if
best.
this is the model, then y'all don't have any ground to walk on.
No, actually, Skyward, it's really true, and that's why when we were discussing again pre-show, like, do we show this and how much we do? It's perfectly relevant. This is a fantasy that people are sold, and no, folks. Just for the record, there is no way to raise lots and lots of cattle to feed millions of Americans and do it sustainably, regeneratively, carbon. Well, you might get carbon neutral, but you won't. You certainly won't be methane neutral. So we just won't mention methane. I mean, just the emissions and go to Point Reyes, as Skyward is in effect saying, and see what it actually looks like.
Or go anywhere to go and pretend like you actually care if what is being sold to you is not a lie. As Leah says, no stats at all, of course, just adjectives and lies.
And just to do my late father, Alfred Gescheit, justice, because he would always say stuff in the room that no one else was going to say, and he probably shouldn't have said. So carrying on that tradition, my point about this is, I mean, it's an animal holocaust, and it's sold as happy with pretty pictures and all that great words. And once you do that, you can literally sell anything, because there's not much that's worse than what's going on with the beef industry. And I just scribbled this down as an example. And if I could put on my just best George Carlin voice and show pretty pictures, which I won't, but it's like saying, beyond the final solution, we introduce Planet Auschwitz, an earth-friendly, 100% natural, Semitic management and sustainable food production system. We've solved two ancient problems facing humanity. One, not enough food, and two, too many Jews. Every one of the Jews at Planet Auschwitz are raised in eco-villages of Jewish families, meticulously designed and expertly fabricated by the finest German and Austrian abattoir craftsmen, who come from an historical lineage of highly respected, academically distinguished, multi-generational anti-Semites. We are the gold-filling standard for breeding, transporting, gassing, and cremating Jewish men, women, and children. We are an artisan, sustainable, carbon neutral, and 100%, yes, 100% regenerative management solution to the problem of European Jewry. Since 1933, Planet Auschwitz proudly offers the creme of the crematorium. Isn't that sweet? Like, I'd buy that product, wouldn't you? Is that going too far, Skylar? Have I offended you? This is my father. He is laughing in his grave. He's not rolling over. He's not getting up. He's just having a good belly laugh. Like, oh my God, what did I do? I raised my boys like this. Oh God.
Uh, I'm going to go back to a question that was on my mind. What is wild pasture? It's just another one of those things that sounded good in the ad that I'm sure a lot of people gobbled up without even considering it. What does that mean?
To quote George Carlin, it means nothing. It means nothing. Real chocolatey goodness. You know what that means? No fucking chocolate. That's what it means. Nothing. Regenerative, by the way, technically means nothing. It's not registered with the USDA to mean anything. Yeah. Anybody can be regenerative. Your toilet seat, your hat is regenerative if you'd like it to be, just as it is natural.
Yeah. Like they're not beyond sustainable. They're regenerative. Well, sustainable means nothing. Regenerative means nothing. So beyond nothing, we have nothing.
We have more nothing with more polysyllabic, impressive sounding words. Yeah.
I I just want to keep people here. Don't go away. We are going to show you exactly why talking about grass fed and pasture is absurd. And we're using the model of grass fed, pasture raised beef and dairy to make our point. We're almost there. There's one more screenshot from that ad I have to share. We may have to come back to this ad, but by the time we circle back to it, there'll be another one even more absurd that we'll have to talk about because this grass fed, pasture fed, regenerative advertising is just going ape shit. I mean, they've. All right, I'm going
Wow.
to shut up. I'm going to read these.
Please.
Raised the way nature intended. None of the animals on this screen have a place in nature. Sorry, everyone. I mean, they're wonderful. They're sweet. I don't wish harm on chickens or cows or pigs. I wish they all could have the best sanctuary ever, but they don't belong in nature. They are commodities that humans use for personal profit. There is no raised the way nature intended. Someone argue with me.
Well, you could even go like, what's back to what's nature, what's natural. I mean, you and I are using it a certain way, obviously, and agreeing upon it, which is, leave it alone and don't breed it and lock it up and confine it and torture it and kill it while it's a child to get its meat or its milk or its eggs. But which is our version of nature is actually wild nature, meaning uncontrolled by humankind. But all these animals, these poor animals, are completely controlled by humans. And the irony is, I mean, look at the cow are out in the field. What is there? 6 cows in an acre lot or something like that, and the chickens are free range. And the challenge of it is you can find examples that look a little like that, but not that feed any amount of humans on an industrial scale, which is what we need to do in order to feed the world's humans. And then that takes us back out to Point Reyes, which there are relatively few cows out there. Was it 5 or 6,000 cows on 18,000 acres of land in its heyday? No more. But that it's not enough food to feed America, not at all. And of course, it destroys the land and is a major pollution generator.
Just think to yourselves. By the way, if anyone ever wants to try this for yourself, before I went vegan, I was starting to wake up and went to a seafood restaurant and it said local sustainable shrimp or whatever, something like that. I was like, and I asked the waiter, it's like, can you really? Where exactly was this caught? And he said, oh, I'll have to go check the chef. Um, check with the chef. Oh, the chef doesn't know. Really? The chef doesn't fucking know where the product's coming from? And then the waiter makes this mistake. But the box says that it's the fresh caught stuff locally came in a box and was shipped from somewhere, huh? I mean, everyone lies and there aren't any consequences for it. Look at this terminology, ladies and gentlemen. 100% grass fed and finished beef. I don't know what finished beef
It means
is.
they're feeding the well, technically, I'm not sure if it's used there, but it's not that they're fed in their whole life, but it's the last thing they eat before they're slaughtered. That's a finishing. And I don't
Oh,
know the length of time that is. I don't think it's prescribed by the USDA.
oh, they got to choose their last meal
By the way, Corinne
and
just
they
said our
choose
whole
grass.
civilization. Corinne comment you just scrolled through is fine. It says our whole civilization is based on lies. And John
Yeah,
Spear, by the way, raises a good one from our childhood. I'm going to read what he wrote. Sadly, false advertising. This is a gentle way of putting it. God bless you, John. Sadly, false advertising has always been around. Do you remember when "quote unquote" dolphin safe tuna was
sure,
a thing? That was
sure,
a marketing response to a
sure,
public awareness of drift nets killing everything, bycatch,
sure,
what I call by kill.
sure.
And of course, that's the solution now. We decide beef is terrible for the environment. Solution: a marketing term called environmentally safe or eco beef or whatever you want to call it. Just call it the opposite of what it is, and now problem solved.
Think about the impossibility of the words I'm about to read. Our cattle eat grass. That's it. We use rotational grazing, which helps preserve and restore the health of the land while providing a more nutrient rich natural diet for the cattle. That's it. That's it. Just grass. Not a chance in hell that's true. Even the most organic farms that are grass fed have supplemental feed coming in different forms, including but not limited to grains.
And
And
by the way, even if they did provide a quote unquote more nutrient rich natural diet for the cattle just on grass, more roughage equals more methane production. So grass fed beast folks, in case you're actually a non vegan listening to the show and you have the courage to do that, God bless you, more environmentally unfriendly, more greenhouse gases, which is why these companies always talk about carbon neutrality, or they're like Strauss, we'll be carbon neutral in by 2030, like Elon Musk, will be full self-driving in 1912 or 2012 or 2032, but they don't mention methane. Methane production increases with grass-fed cattle and of course takes up more land if they're truly out there on some meadow somewhere in Iowa.
methane doesn't exist, you hippie.
Exactly. Exactly.
It goes on. The chickens spend their entire lives outdoors digging for bugs and all that, and all of this is brought to you at the lowest prices. Ladies and gentlemen, not a chance. That's the most expensive way to raise this inefficient form of food, and there's no way they're delivering it to you at the lowest prices. And I know I said I was going to let you run this, but I've got to just jump the gun and choose at least one
Go for it.
horrifying image. Um,
From the reality of Point Reyes Seashore, photographed last Tuesday, 7 days ago.
I don't have the one that I wanted.
What's the image you're thinking of?
Oh, the cows standing in the thistles, but here's Laura standing in the thistles.
I think I know which one I've got that picture. I can do that if you want.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, show me the grass.
Wow. So, I mean, I hope people can actually see that, from our viewers at home. Even in the foreground, it's just, I think that's dried out bull thistle. Is that right, Skyware? The plant. Not that it matters. It's European. I mean, it's just
There's bull thistle in the back, Italian thistle in the front, giant poison hemlock mixed in there. It's all garbage.
and
It's all
this
garbage.
is the reality of what's at Point Reyes right now. This wonderful, organic, sustainable family farm, multi-generational, fantasy land. Go out to Point Reyes Seashore. I mean, you should go out anyway. It's a beautiful place to be. Other than
Except
when
for
you
these
look
parts.
at these sad cow parks, which
Ranch
is
parts.
18,000 acres of pasture, so-called
Just
pasture.
drive past all the ranches and you'll get to some nice parts.
The trick is, I mean, why it's so confusing is before I saw your film, The Shame of Point Reyes, in 2019, I was going out to Point Reyes for over 15 years. And I was the normal, visitor, Bay Area environmentalist, or environmentally minded anyway. And I would drive to the beach or to the forest or to a trail or wherever at Point Reyes. And I drive by these places and not see them,
Yeah.
not see them. And of
Yeah.
course, in the spring, March, April, May, it's all beautiful, green, bright grass. And I was taught, like a lot of Marinites, oh, look at the beautiful rolling hills of Marin, which are mostly deforested. All the trees were cut down. But you don't know that. You're raised with what you're raised. Raised with what you're raised with, and that's that.
And as John says, we've got a few good comments in here. We might go back through. John said that he was not raised west of the Rockies. I think it was John who said that, which actually matters because I was also raised east of the Rockies, and you get rain in the summer, which does not happen in California. It's the exact opposite. You get snow in the winter, and you get sleet, and you get hail, and you get other forms of condensation, precipitation. Um, that's not what happens in California. You come summertime, you better have a source of water somewhere because you're not going to get any from the sky, and it's a long, hot, hard summer. And this these are non-native animals beating the shit out of land that's already having a hard time getting by. Oh yeah, there's some bull thistle.
Is that bull thistle?
Wrap your mouths around that, cattle. One of the things I want to point out is that even livestock won't eat this shit, and yet it comes hand in hand with livestock. Somehow they promote and spread things that they don't even consume,
And barbed wire fences is out of focus right behind that plant, of course, restricting the movement of wild animals to varying degrees.
which will continue to happen as the Nature Conservancy brings in cattle for targeted regenerative, conservative grazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Show me the grass. I need one of you young people who can put together AI stuff to give me the Tom Cruise bit. Except, show me the grass.
Oh, instead of show me the money. Yeah. Um, can I jump to show a broader, faraway shot?
Yeah,
So this is a kind of example. It's hard to tell what you're seeing there because I zoomed out. Honestly, I don't know. This is either A, B, or C. This is actually a ranch. This is a ranch. Beyond a ranch on Chimney Rock Road, looking back, I'm pretty sure. But in case I'm not, can you see what's going on with the land there? There's a little bit of greenery kind of in the right middle of the picture, but it's mostly just land that's just been decimated. It's so different than a coastal prairie, which is the stuff that Laura was taking to show us, which still exists in tiny little pockets when it's not being trampled by, again, no fault of the cows, but the cow industry.
the the really green stuff look like Monterey cypress. Don't let
Oh, right.
don't let the Presidio Trust see those. They'll come out and chop down those trees before they get rid of the non-native European grasses.
Yeah, the irony there is, I guess, the only thing in this picture that's actually green and healthy, they're not very healthy trees, but those cypress were brought in as windbreaks, or I assume windbreaks for a farm years and years ago, brought up from Monterey, which is, fine by me. Move trees around and plant them anywhere. Anyway, where would you like to go from here? Do you want to show more pictures? Do you want to show video? What's next on our docket?
Let's see. I've got show the feeding truck. If you don't have it handy, I do.
I don't. Let's see. So when we came, this is so we're at Cunningham. We went to a ranch, and when we were at a ranch, looking out down, kind of above down on the land, there was a feeding truck that came out, and there you go.
It's just cows eating grass naturally. Nothing unnatural happening here. No feed being brought in. They're just eating the regenerative, rotational grazing, nice green, juicy, nutritious looking grass.
So we'll do the Mutt and Jeff dance. So that's very bitter, sarcastic Skylar telling you that, oh yeah, they have to bring in food. And of course they also bring in water in a totally unnatural environment while they're pulverizing and pounding and desiccating the land at Point Reyes Seashore.
I'll tell you a reason that there's an extra bit of bitterness on top of my normal bitterness. I don't know how YouTube chooses the ads that it targets me with. It never gets any of them correct, but sometimes I'm not close enough to my phone to click skip. And I heard one of these weightlifting supplement gym boys talking about, oh yeah, no, you got to get this supplement. It's all from 100% grass-fed beef, none of that hormone stuff. And I'm like, oh, you mean like from the family farms at Point Reyes National Seashore?
Jeez.
I mean, it's all such magically, absolutely every product on the market now is grass-fed. Does anyone find that suspicious?
Well, as Leah, who's one of the speakers at the Veg Fest in 2 weekends, she's doing a piece on the humane washing and the marketing terms. But once they hook on a term that sells, like humane, call everything humane. All the beef, all the pork, all the beef, all the pig meat, all the eggs, all the chickens. It's all humane. Because folks, it doesn't mean anything. There's no requirement from the USDA, the government, who's supposed to watch over this stuff in the old days, kind of, sort of, but never.
Say that again. Say that again.
Humane has no meaning according to the USDA. It's not
Say
regulated.
One more time.
And humane, along with natural, or kind, or loving, or we love it's all meaningless. It does not have any registered legal meaning with the USDA, which supervises this stuff. And even when it does, like organic does have a USDA certification. So it's one of the exceptions. There is such thing as organic, but that has nothing to do with the inherent, we haven't even touched on, God, God help me if I didn't do this, Leo would come after me, the inherent, just horrific, unbelievable, jaw-dropping cruelty of all the animal products. It's not what they're telling you, folks, just like they're lying to you about the conditions of the farms. It is all really brutal on animals. There's no way to humanely raise or slaughter or kill or knife to the throat any of these animals. You can't humanely kill an animal, especially when they do so when the animals are very, very young. They quote unquote bring them to market, which is to say slaughter. That's a great term, bring them to market. They harvest the animal. They can't slaughter them except when they're very young, because that's how you make a profit at it. And of course, that whole business is just grisly, grisly.
As Leah says, there's no legal definition anymore for grass fed either. Anyone can say it. So I'm not gonna let it rest where you put it. I'm gonna be extra mean and say to human beings, when you find out that the marketing terms that you're buying into are meaningless and there are no requirements to meet those meaningless words, and yet those words are effective in getting you to buy that product, what does that say about you and how your brain works?
Yeah. We're all, I guess,
How
people.
badly do you want to believe a lie so that you can continue doing what you're already doing? No matter what it means, no matter what suffering it's causing. How badly do you want to believe a lie for selfish reasons?
And the selfish reasons are so, I mean, they're powerful, but they're so simple. It's habit. We're creatures of habit. There's custom of our culture. When you go to Thanksgiving, there should be a turkey on the table because my mommy and daddy and grandpappy did that. And then, of course, convenience. It's what's for dinner. It's what's being served. And those are the three challenges. Even when people hear the truth, what we activists do is just speak the truth. We're just speaking the truth, folks. That's our self-appointed, self-created, low-paying job. Just speak.
Uh, you'll like John's comment, probably, if you want to read it.
These terms invite satire. For example, quote, I'm a cannibal, but I only eat humanely raised, free range humans. Yes, John, exactly. Exactly, which I was doing with my Camp Auschwitz stuff. But of course, that's an extra layer of improper because I'm Jewish. I can get away with it. USDA got rid of their requirements for grass fed labeling in 2016, Leah. Thank you for that information. See, there you go. There's a detail I didn't know. I thought I didn't know grass fed was officially BS now. I thought maybe there was something. Yeah, we want to believe it because we don't want to change. Yeah.
Yeah, humans are not good with change.
Wow, Corinne puts it poetically. We are the glass walls. The glass walls, which is the Paul McCartney, I think he's attributed with the quote, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, we would all be, well, back in the day it was vegetarian. Now it's vegan, of course. We are the glass walls.
So as this truck drives over dirt, desolate ground, dropping food for these cows to eat, because otherwise there's nothing. can you can we please can you please notice this garbage in the foreground and the garbage in the background? I'll pause it. Um, right before these weeds in the front blocked the view of the weeds in the back. The weeds in the back were clumps of large clumps of bull thistle, and this in the front looks like the flowered heads of poison hemlock have fallen off, but those are the stalks of poison hemlock in the foreground. Um, it's all toxic, inedible garbage plants on pasture. The only thing left for these cows to eat is what is brought to them. And by the way, this is a side topic. Ranchers are supposedly are supposed to have done more to feed their cows in a contained type of manner, because the ranchers turn around and complain if the elk have the nerve to, like, maybe want some of that feed or alfalfa that was provided for the cattle, while the elk have nothing to eat. And the ranchers will be like, "Oh, kill those elk! Don't follow the rules. Don't follow the rules, ranchers. Don't feed your cattle according to the biologically friendly recommendations that you are supposed to be following according to your leases. Just complain. Just keep breaking the rules and complaining."
Yeah. Yeah. given every possible break and then some. John adds, that's human nature. We tend to believe ideas that reinforce our own habits and existing beliefs, which, the fancy term for that is confirmation bias. And of course, it is human nature. I do it all the time. I believe that cows are domesticated, which is to say subjugated cows are a blight on the land, no fault of their own, forced into service and an early death, environmental disaster. So when I find more information that supports that, I tend to jump on it and believe it. That is human nature. I also like to think I'm a decent enough, not perfect, but decent enough critical thinker that I can catch myself when I, believe something that isn't true also. But you know what? Having said that, I'm full of baloney because I was in my 50s,
Yeah.
half a century old before I woke up to, oh, animals are tortured, because I didn't want to believe it either. And for all the reasons I listed before there, it was my habit and my custom and my family and my tradition. And I didn't want to know. And I knew there was something upsetting, but stay away from me, you weird people at PETA. It's upsetting. What am I supposed to do? So I'm right in there with them.
Makes me want to ask, how important is it the way you're raised, that the first ideas put in your head are good ones that you can run with instead of ones that are lies, and then you spend a huge percentage of your life trying to make those lies be true.
Yeah. By the way, Connie, thanks for tuning in. She's another supporter and an activist, and we'll hopefully see you, Connie, at the Vegan Fest, where we can all schmooze a bit 2 Saturdays from now up in Santa Rosa.
And do come back and watch the rest of this video. You don't only have to watch it live, because we're going to get to some pretty gnarly stuff here. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, Laura Cunningham has agreed to come on tomorrow and add an ecologist expert information to her own images.
Wow. Wonderful. Yeah, it was really interesting being with Laura. I trust her. Laura's a biologist with hello, Western Watersheds Project. Am I right? And
You are.
yeah, I mean, like, I'd look at that land and say, Laura, what would you do here? Like, I don't trust the nature conservancy to bring in cows rather than, hey, let's bring in elk to actually eat the grass down, because the elk aren't going to eat that crap, or not enough elk to eat all that crap. Oh, here we go. This is I don't know, A, B, or C ranch. I'm not even sure which one this is. This is my footage, oddly enough, and thank you for showing. Jim Cota was driving us. Look, green grass. I'm not sure how that's green. I'm guessing they're watering it, but look at this. It's like Appalachia here. This is beautiful Point Reyes Seashore. One of either A, B, or C ranch. I'm not sure which in the moment.
They all look the same. They just look like slums. They're worse than slums.
And by the way, just informationally, these are still in operation, folks. They are in the process of moving out, but that won't be complete until April of 2026 next year. It's like a 15-month long process, 15 or 16 months for the whole secession, the ceasing of. I'm not sure the right word there. So there's.
I'll rewind. I'll rewind anything that you want to come back to. I just want the footage playing in the background.
Yeah, no, it's great. For me, whenever I see something, I want to explain to people what they're looking at.
And we can come back and play it with audio, because some of the stuff that was being said in the car is actually kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, between Jim and Laura.
Looks like A Ranch.
Wow.
I think that's A Ranch. I mean, they all look like just miserable shitholes.
Should we get out of the way here and let this footage be seen, or what? You tell me.
Sure.
And Corinne says, we teach children to lie as soon as they're aware. We feed them meat, and when they ask where it comes from, we tell them it comes from the store. And even and of course, meat. We don't use the name of this is a cow. Eat cow here, my child. It's eat some meat, or eat some beef, or eat some pork.
I'll just start over and play the audio. God, look at the grass-fed land. Look at the regenerative. Not only sustainable, regenerative.
But it's organic, which means, in theory, assuming they're actually organic, which they may be, that means they don't add extra.
Yeah, this is what organic looks like, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let me turn the audio on. Unless you're
go for it. Go for it. Thank you.
About anything that was said.
So that's A Ranch. That's what the feeder was. Bringing in food, as you pointed out.
Like in any other national park or even BLM land, it would just be rated like F minus.
Yeah.
But here they get away with it.
That's
Yeah.
Laura. Can you turn up volume on that, or that's it?
It's cranked.
Okay.
But I'll say what she said because I've heard her say it before. She
Okay.
has many years working for BLM and other organizations, and the worst violations of land management she's ever seen are Point Reyes National Seashore.
Would you
There,
say that again, please? That's a pretty heavy statement.
it is, and I included it in the shame of Point Reyes because it blew my mind. The worst examples of violating proper land management practices take place in Point Reyes National Seashore with these heralded stewards of the land. And you see, all you have to do is go and look, people. I don't know how you manage to live in this delusion. Nothing you see on this screen is good. Nothing that you see on this screen is supposed to be there. The pasture behind the weeds that are on the roadside of that barbed wire fence are toxic. They're not good. They're from Europe. And beyond it, it's just dirt and shit.
And of course, what you're not seeing is what they've also destroyed, which is the original coastal prairie,
Yes.
which is evergreen and healthy and sustains wild animals. All that
And
has been destroyed.
which makes me not want to forgive Denatured Magazine and others that promote this idea that the ranchers put in people's heads that, oh, we're preserving the scenic landscape. You're looking at this so-called scenic landscape, folks. What they're talking about when they say a scenic landscape is the continued destruction and prevention of nature ever coming back.
And speaking of continuance, all the ranchers who are being booted out are still collectively howling about it in various ways, including with a couple lawsuits trying to get off the work.
Wait, I'm going to back you up. Don't use the word booted then, because that plays into their hands. They aren't being booted. They were the ones that participated in the secret negotiations and could have fucking sounded the alarm anytime they wanted to. They kept their mouths shut until they got their millions of dollars. And when the amount was finalized, then as they agreed to it and took the money, they started bitching and moaning.
Very good. Good point. Good point. Not booted from the land. They dug in their heels, their boots, to stay put until they could get some money out of it. There was some chatter in our group, which is good, and discussion about why were they paid and we should have held out and all that. And the fear was, as I understood it, was that they were going to keep stalling and stalling and stalling. There's a lot of political momentum to them stalling. And then the Trump administration would have come in and been incredibly friendly and maybe shut down the whole negotiation process as best they could. And of course, we see that they'll ignore all rules. So it was like, let's get this damn deal done. And if it takes paying them off again and then TNC will come in with money to do it, let's get it done. And it was a political compromise that, for what I know of it, it seemed like it was an intelligent choice. Like, let's get this damn deal done and tie it up real nice with a ribbon on it so we can move forward. And then we can battle the ranchers still doing, which is my original point, which is they're still saying, well, cows should be there to heal the land because we were stewards of the land. Total lie. Total lie. Total lies. There it is, folks. There's the land they were stewarding with their ranching operations. Utter destruction.
John Spear provides a comment that we can dig into again deeper. He says, you've already covered this, but it's ludicrous that this collection of rundown sheds is certified to be historic in the National Register of Historic Places. Indeed. I was laughing about that back in 2018, 2019, when I didn't know anything about this. I was just like, I drove from Jenner all the way back to Sacramento one time, and the entire way, just so I could deal humorously with this bullshit in my mind, every time I saw something shitty, run down, and abandoned, I was just shouting, historic!
Wow, it's history! And of course, it's when you think of the word, well, that's his story.
Yeah. I mean,
what does that even mean? What does it mean? They I don't know the story behind it. Maybe John knows. I'm sure Jim Cota knows, but the ranchers lobbied hard.
Oh, yeah.
With the Park Service to get their ranches called historic A ranch, historic B ranch, because why? Marketing. It sells well. People drive past. Oh, it's historic.
And it sounds more tragic when Lonnie and the rest of them say our historic ranches are being shut down. But they were historic.
Right. Many generations, multi-generation, 4 or 5, 6 generations of our, ignoring the 1,000 generations of Coast Miwok that were booted, kicked, killed off the land.
I know I come across as a self-loathing Caucasian when I say these things, but truth is truth. It's like the only history that matters is the history that you choose to matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, beautiful. Rosa.
The A Ranch, as I said in my email, is the one that seems to have kept more cows than anyone else so far. But you know, tomorrow they could all be gone. It's
There's a kid.
look at that through that barn. You see the wall missing on the left?
Yeah.
We met somebody that worked at the Park Service while we were there this morning, which I haven't mentioned to you, and I'm not going to fully disclose what went on there. But we did learn, yeah, there are still cows. There are many, many ranches that still have cows on them, just fewer, and they're even moving them around. You know, Dave Evans has 2 different ranches, but they're being consolidated. I don't remember the demarcations, but they're moving them around and making his 2 non-contiguous plots contiguous, I believe. But it's all opaque to the public. It's the Park Service doing it. It's probably being led around now by the nose, unlike by the ranchers, but by the Nature Conservancy, the big bully and big boy in the room with the money. But who knows what's going on?
And you have also the conversion of dairy to beef, as they're also just phasing out entirely. But you also have the dairy to beef conversion.
Well, they got, as long as they have the land, the lease until whatever it is, April 1st, 2026, they're going to take full advantage of it financially, which, you know, I that makes sense. Of course they would do that. They're going to keep cows there if they can. It's cheaper than running them somewhere else, which is why they don't want to leave Point Reyes in the first place. They get this deal where it's, you know, a 10th or 20th the cost of renting the land and paying for the cows to be on the land.
So we got to try to shut our mouths a little bit. As Corinne says, she wants to see more of the video.
Great.
I can run a little bit long today.
Yeah, me too. That's fine. Yeah, I don't have to run out to last week it was out to the park to shoot this footage. In fact.
Private land. What ranch was this?
A Ranch. This is
A Ranch.
We're going to turn around here. Park Service.
Historic garbage.
Historic garbage, says Laura. You can't hear that, folks.
I can hear it.
You know what? Maybe I should have gone out to Chimney Rock to show you. What are we doing? 11:50. Yeah.
This is pretty grotesque. I mean, I know it rains a lot here, guys, but
Does it?
What'd you
Look
say?
at all that.
I didn't hear it.
She said, "I know it rains." Do you have the volume up on your computer? I can hear it very
Well,
loud.
I have it high enough to hear you, but your volume is higher than the video. So if I play the video higher, I'm going to get blasted by you.
Look at all the hay.
Yeah.
Look at all the hay always brought in for these purely grass-fed cattle. And then
Well, it is, those guys were saying, it is, as you probably know, supposed to be certified organic and weed-free. I don't know how on earth that could be true with the volume of hay there, that things don't get planted that are not supposed to be there, because look at what the pastures have become.
I've thought about that a lot. I see the hay trucks, especially when I was up in the Sacramento area. The highway was always full of these hay trucks with the seeds blowing off of them. And I'm like, I've gone out into these fields. It's all bullshit weeds. Like, hay is now mostly the stuff that you don't want it to be. Like it's the wall barley, it's the slender oats, it's the rip gut brome. Like the idea that it's alfalfa or whatever the friendly grasses are is a little bit fantastical. I'm sure there's alfalfa in there.
When Laura was watching the truck, the feeding truck for the cow, she said it looks like she has more experience, and you both have more experience than I do with this stuff. But she said it looks like alfalfa. So it's, you know, it's supposed to be, and is primarily perhaps alfalfa. But to your point, you think that stuff is pure? The volume they bring it in, that it's only alfalfa? No way.
Well, what did we just say earlier about the meaning of these things? Certified,
Right.
Okay, please look at the background. Look at the pasture. Look at the death, and then the dark patches again. The things that are managing to still stand are toxic bull thistle patches. That's why they're still standing. If it was a native plant, the cows would have probably taken it out.
Corinne says the hay is polluting the land with the seeds. You know, it's tricky. I realize, just I'm stepping back and pretending I'm a layman again here. And it's like, well, what do you mean? there's grass, there's an old truck, there's some hay bales. What's the problem? And again, it goes back to look at the land, look at the land, look at the land, and don't take our word for it, folks. Go out there for yourself and look at how barren this land is for the next couple months, 3 months before we get winter rains.
The problem is when people want to support it so desperately that they then start pretending that, oh, this is nature. This is working hand in hand with nature. It's not. Which one is it? Do you want to just admit that this is a business and these are commodities and that they have destroyed nature to make room for their business? Or are you going to insist that nature and this business are hand in hand? Because this is not what hand in hand looks like. One is gone to make room for the other one, period.
I totally agree with everything you said. And I would just play with the words a little bit, which is, we're talking about wild nature, where the hands and the mind and the machines of man are not involved. And of course, to the Carlin bit, everything is nature. Humans are nature. A tractor is nature. An oil refinery is nature. It's all part of, what's here on the planet. But when we're using this term, folks, to clarify, we're talking about wild. For me, I like the word unmitigated, if that means anything to folks, where it's not us saying what should be and then imposing it on a landscape. And you can see the difference in what's healthier and feel it as well as see it when you're on at Point Reyes. It's actually a great place to see the vast difference between a managed landscape and an unmanaged landscape. And you tell me what looks better. I defy anyone to argue that what you're looking at here in the picture Sky was shown in this video here is, oh no, this is good. This is better. This is right.
Let's proceed.
And,
used car lot yards are historic.
More historic, but they're less historic than all the ranches east of there, because those ranches, including especially the East Coast, out are twice as old as these ranches.
Yeah.
New England maybe 3 times as old, and part of the southern states.
Right. Historic ranches from the 15 and 1600s, not the mid 1800s.
Yeah, the geese
Yeah,
out there.
if you park somewhere, there's no
Where-
place to park.
Oh, no,
so.
no, right here.
All right, good.
Oh, so this is pulling over A
If
Ranch,
you want.
right? This is where we're above the cows, looking down on A Ranch lands, and eventually the truck came through to feed these guys.
See, this strikes me as conversion because I feel like they used to be primarily dairy, and these aren't.
Yeah, I was also curious. I didn't ask Jim. The rump on that first Jersey cow on the left just says D.
I wanted to get that answer from you. Damn it, no answers for me.
I can text Jim while we're doing the show, but I'd have to show him the picture. It would take longer to get it. I assume that means D Ranch, but who the hell knows?
Well, D Ranch hasn't had an official occupant. They have allowed neighboring ranches to use it, but D Ranch was the one that got abandoned a long time ago or left. So
good point.
I also thought, oh, maybe it means D Ranch, but then I was like, no, it can't mean D Ranch.
Yeah, and that's a Jersey cow, right? And that the brown and white ones. I'm not an expert on the cows, but I'm told that.
I think I hear Laura say that it's Jersey.
Yeah.
Look at all that grass.
So what do you
Laura?
Jerseys, and I don't even know what they're eating. There's like mud and root.
This is before the truck showed up.
Like grasses. So, no. I'm not sure what they're eating. Manure and dirt. Those are beneficial. And, it should at least look like there's some dry grass after the summer.
When I was filming this on an iPhone, it's like I couldn't turn too far away from her because then I couldn't hear her. But I wanted to do this and show where we are and who's on the scene there. Jim, our driver, waiting for us to stop.
This is a perfect time to come here because it's the end of the season.
Don't touch the electric fence, and maybe you can see what they're.
Oh, Jim's saying climb over the fence and check out, see what they're
I
eating.
can see from here, and it's like, that's a good picture. They're stomping on the moss. That's like a
stomping on the moss?
biological soil crust. That's a good picture.
Sweeties.
Harassing the animals. They're not going to produce beef.
Than ever, and so they can't just be living off of stubble and mud. I mean, you guys are cute. They're cute, but geez. Sorry for them.
Look at the calf hutches in the background.
All right.
Yeah, I looked at them with binoculars, and there were calves in. There's 2 sections of calf hutches, and there was calves. A guy came out and went around and was feeding one section of those calf hutches. Are still in operation. Surprisingly, Skyward, they moved them away from the road, so you can't see them.
No, but they're
What
so
is the
proud of
problem?
their history.
They're proud of the historic calf hutches, which separate
Look,
babies from moms.
look at that grass pasture that the cows are in.
Cowschwitz, Cowschwitz, baby.
Oh man, and it makes sense now that the cows are congregated like that because it is a feeding spot. They know that the truck is coming.
Right.
Pretty.
And by the way, the moss thing, I hope Laura will get into it tomorrow, but it's a pioneer plant. It's desperately trying to heal the land from what's always being done to it. And the cattle are there to make sure that that healing never takes place.
By
And
trapping.
that tells you how flawed the Nature Conservancy's plan is.
We talked about that too. It's like, exactly, how do you put cows in with, the fancy shock collars and fenceless fences and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not like cows tiptoe around on their toenails eating just the plants we want them to eat and don't destroy everything. I mean, it's just poor cows. Again, just to make sure we're not blaming the victim here. They're the victims in this story for sure, worse than us humans. But what the WTF?
John Spear, the operations expanded, e.g., on historic I Ranch. The enormous 30,000 square foot loafing barn was built after the creation of PRNS. Bob McClure kept many more and bigger cows than his grandfather. And I think we joked if those loafing barns were going to be dubbed as historic. I hope they didn't go that far, but I could be wrong.
And just to underline John's point, thank you, John, for the comment.
Yeah.
They're designated historic, and then they make modern improvements, the giant metal loafing barn, more land, more cows. So it's sort of like looking at a Ford Expedition and saying, well, it's an historic vehicle because look, Model A or Model T.
Yes, and those wonderful loafing barns where they bragged about how our precious limited resource of fresh water was used to spray all the shit out of the loafing barns.
And Corinne asked, what's a loafing barn?
They take the cows inside and put them into the racks where they stick their heads down and eat, and the machines pull the milk out of them.
It was a giant on the I Ranch, which is McClure Ranch near Abbott's Lagoon, above it, which would then drain into Abbott's Lagoon. It was this giant aircraft carrier sized,
dude. It's
metal shed.
It looks like a fucking airport.
Right.
It's so big.
Right. With the roof over it, where cows go in. Yeah. Are they? I don't know. There's a question I don't know the answer to. Is that considered a milking barn? Is a loafing barn a type of milking barn? I wouldn't. I'd be guessing at this, and I'm not going to give false info. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm feeling like it's a multi-purpose barn.
I think it's where they're fed with hay, but here I am speculating, so I'm going to shut up on that now.
Well, he's got two of them, two of those gigantic hanger things. A loafing barn, a loafing shed, is a type of open-sided shelter with a roof that provides protection for livestock like cattle or horses from rain, wind, and sun while allowing them free access to pasture or a larger enclosure. Unlike a full barn with stalls, a loafing barn has a dirt floor. Nope, this had concrete. And it is a difference. Some of these places don't have loafing barns to seek shelter in at all. And you'll find those cows huddled next to the few trees or bushes that remain out there seeking reprieve from the wind. That anyone who's gone out there, that wind will cut through every layer that you have on and chill you to your bone.
By the way, just before because we're going to theoretically wrap up soon, would you switch over to the picture I'm showing on my screen? I know you wanted to mention that because it's such a fun photo.
Oh, yeah. So
people enjoy that for a moment. You don't even need a caption, but we'll explain, I suppose, what environmental protection zone is and what you're seeing there. Because these signs were put in just a year or two ago. They were not there historically, right?
2021, Jack. 2021. I was working on a side project yesterday to talk about this. I have footage from 2021. Derek has footage from 2022. You show this, and the sign says environmental protection zone, ladies and gentlemen. And this is exactly what I predicted was going to happen when I first saw those signs go in. Protecting which environment? Yeah. What does environment mean? That sign is now overrun with the non-native plants that I predicted would overrun that sign. Now, the most optimistic version of seeing a sign like that come up is that Point Reyes National Park Service was actually engaging in restoration. Nope. Stupid.
Silly you. They were actually protecting. Well, my understanding.
Let's be clear. I never thought that that's what was going to happen. That's what the optimistic person with me thought, and I said, "We'll see."
No. Look, I'm maybe more optimistic than you, buddy. Don't you go on insulting me and calling me.
No, it wasn't you. You weren't with me in 2021.
Okay,
someone else was in the car with me.
Well, my take on these, because I said there was like a dense a forest of these signs, like 50 of them planted, 25 on each side of the road at a ranch is where I first saw them. Driving out to the lighthouse, you'd pass them, and it was like, oh, I get it. They put these signs in to prevent tourists from pulling over at the side of historic A ranch and checking out the ranch. It's not, don't park here because my oil from my car will spill in this wonderful protected environment of the ranch. And the ultimate irony, my friend, this is in a national park. It all should be environmental protection zone. The ranch is the oasis of destruction inside a national park. It's just so bizarre, layer upon layer of insanity.
I heard, this is another one of Jack's images. I heard Jim Coda say in the car as you guys were driving by one of those used car lots known as a historic ranch that someone get a shot of this car that's half buried in the ground, and no one got a shot of it, unfortunately, but there's plenty of examples. And let's use this as an example. This manure spreading truck with the flat tire, it's just gorgeous. It's exactly what you want to see in a national park. But I started thinking about Kevin Lunny and the $4 million cleanup job that he left behind after Drake's Bay Oyster Company, and that the Park Service happily assumed the responsibility and cost of. And then after Lunny did that to them, they continued to let him lease G Ranch, which he was also in constant violation of his lease on. I mean, the Point Reyes National Park Service are as corrupt of a park service as you can get. And I've got to wonder how much of the cleanup job of the devastation that these ranchers are leaving behind are once again going to be dropped on the taxpayer. Because if you look at California, the whole place is littered with examples of ranchers not cleaning up their mess after they sell their land. That's why you will trip and fall and get tangled in abandoned barbed wire on most hikes that you'll go on in the hills of California. How do you follow that up?
Well, I was going to, never mind.
Come on, somebody in the comments. Somebody challenge me in the comments or add to it. Let's get some participation.
Yesterday, I watched a wonderful forum put on by the Sierra Club Palo Alto Loma Prieta chapter. And Chad Hansen, PhD scientist, talking about the Forest Service, and he's basically saying, leave these giant sequoias alone. Don't go in there and manage them and set small fires and medium intensity and low intensity fires to help them, because they need high severity fires. And everything we do is going to just do more damage and more damage. And he was accurately, correctly moderating it and saying, not everybody at the friggin' U.S. Forest Service, not everybody at the National Park Service, there's some good people there. There's some good people who work there. But of course, they're in a bureaucracy. They can't disagree with management at the top, and that management can be corrupted by the politics and the money and obviously the ranching game, as has, in my opinion, the Nature Conservancy might do some good things by buying some land, but as long as they are taking money from the cattle industry, they're going to be beholden to some unsettling extent to the forces of the cattle industry saying what we do is great.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I was just looking at my channel from another channel on YouTube and seeing more comments than I can see in this one. I apologize to anyone whose comments I've ever missed, but I do see NC. When can we start volunteer cleanup of barbed wire? Well, see, this is part of what's so confusing about the Nature Conservancy, is that as long as you're going to keep bringing in cattle, you're going to keep needing fencing.
So Jim and I were speaking with a Park Service representative last Tuesday in the park, and said we would like to volunteer. We represent many activists, and many of us would come and volunteer help take down the elk fence at the very least, let alone all the other barbed wire fences, whenever 200, 300 plus miles of additional straight and barbed wire fences around these ranches. And the short answer is it wasn't a yes. It wasn't an absolutely not, but we would have to lobby and push and lobby and push. It's been done before. It's possible, but it would take another activist effort to realize that dream for us to go out and actually help. And Jim Cota was, thank God, has the historic knowledge that it has been done before, where volunteer crews come in and help with certain jobs. So it's possible.
We haven't even gotten to D Ranch, which was supposed to be the focal point of the tour, right? Was she? Or
No.
No?
No. In fact, Alora originally was going to go out to El Ranch Road and get out to the ranch where she showed coastal prairie remains, had she done before. But then Jim and I met her earlier. We took her out to tour all the way out to Chimney Rock, where we ended up stopping with those cows on a ranch. And then we went further down that road on Chimney Rock. Actually, if you cut over to the final thing we did, which is we went to the Chimney Rock parking lot. Let me find the picture here, where she was looking for coastal prairie to show us as well. There it is. I've got that picture up now too. So this is in the parking lot of Chimney Rock, and she was like a little girl. It was so funny. Oh my God! There's coastal grass here. There's bunch grasses here. So, and even you can't quite see in this picture, but in the kind of bottom of the frame right side, there's some greenery, and there were mosses and lichen. And, she's saying this is habitat that's never been grazed. This is what's still here. So then she shifted her program for the day and said, I'm very happy to just take the crew of people, who some of which are here now, made it out to see A Ranch and to see this. A Ranch is what has been destroyed, what we need to revitalize. And then here to Chimney Rock, to this hillside. This is on a steep down hillside to what should be here, could be here, and we are going to try to restore.
Scan through, just click through those photos so people have a taste of what we still haven't gotten to. No, just click any of them. I'm sure they're all great. Unless you have some of your naked tree hugging photos in here.
Well, not until you join the squadron. So this is B Ranch, is that correct?
Yes, that's Mendoza Ranch.
Right, and you know it well because
I spent time with those calves.
Right. So those hutches are to finally, at least this degree of some of the calf hutches have been abandoned, which is to say the calves are, I assume off to slaughter or whatever horrible fate awaits them.
Yeah.
But at least these are stacked up. And for me, when I saw this, like, stop the car. I need to get out and make this picture to show Skylar a little bit of progress. Like, at least these poor animals are out of those hutches, and those hutches are retired.
This was, I chose this photo as the original cover for today's show, wondering the divide in human mentality. Is this good or is this bad? Because we're seeing the end of the circulation of misery.
Yeah.
People that don't choose to see it that way are saying, oh God, the end of my veal. Oh God, the end of the dairy and cream coming out of B Ranch. It's like,
these weren't veal crates. Don't exaggerate. They were only torturing cows in isolation chambers. They weren't making them into veal. In this case, I'm sure they do it somewhere else.
Jack, there were boys inside of them. It was not 100% female. And I don't know if that's just a matter of time before the pick up the boys and ship their worthless bodies off to slaughter was taking place, but there were males inside of those. So maybe officially they weren't veal crates, because veal was what I learned about before I learned about dairy isolation crates. So I also was thinking veal first, and then I realized dairy isolation crates. But how different are they? Babies kept in isolation for different versions of the commodities that they're going to become.
Name any cow in any cow industry, beef or dairy or veal, that isn't killed while a full-size teenager. And any cow that lives anywhere near its 20-year lifespan, rather than its, I think, 6 or 7 years maturity, 6 or 7 years a dairy cow is killed. Leah knows this stuff better than I do. And beef cows at 2 years, 3 years at most, just mature and then kill them. Kill them young.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all monstrous.
You think that you can't go any further? I can. In addition to the other forms of disposing of worthless males, were discovered carcass dumps in Point Reyes National Seashore, where ranchers simply threw the bodies of the male babies. Couldn't even be bothered to ship them off to market.
You know, I'm sorry. I just realized, just trying to close out here. The last thing I would have shown, I don't know whether you have access to it because I sent you the video clips and you were kind enough to kind of curate them. But there's a clip of Diana. It's a vertical clip of her. I asked
Mm.
her off camera, "Why are you smiling?"
Mm.
And then it was on Kehoe's farm,
Mhm.
what J Ranch, and there are
Mhm.
actually 20 elk sitting down on a
Mhm.
field at J Ranch. Now, there are still some cows there, but far fewer, and they were allowed to be there. In the old days, the cows would have been chased off. Get the hell out of here, you darn elk. Excuse me, the elk were allowed to be there. And it was one little, like another bit of progress. I was looking for, with all the horrificness I was documenting,
I have it.
to show a few good things. You do have it.
It's at the end of this that I.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just because
Yeah.
Diana Oppenheim, we haven't mentioned her, but she was
Count
out here as
mice?
well. She was one of the lead activists that
No.
got me started on this whole project.
GIO sphere.
And
It's
Doll barns.
yeah, it shows there actually is some progress being made, which I do
There
want.
they are. There you are, walking through the shit. Ridiculous sign.
Armed biosecurity. Wow. So
There's milk.
this is
About
J Ranch, Kehoe.
About the only thing attractive taking place there.
Of course, the land is still hammered,
Yep.
but more elk than I've ever seen there. And there was a herd of like 20 of them, to 20, mostly females, if I remember, who were just sitting there peacefully having a time. It was heartwarming to see. Like, this is what should be happening. Get the cows out, let the elk, expand their range, of course.
And John said, nice photo. He's talking about the bee ranch.
The calf hutches.
It looks like a cemetery. I kind of thought that too. It kind of looks like gravestones.
Yeah.
And boy, we could just talk about that for a while. NC says, would it be illegal? I think NC was referring to the abandonment of their things when they leave. I apparently not, because it just keeps happening over and over and over again. I mean, look, I can't believe what Lunny's gotten away with.
Well, legal is what you can get away with, I suppose, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to shamelessly plug the rest of this week because there's a lot coming. Laura is on tomorrow. Like Jack and I have our pretty well informed ideas of what's happening, but Laura will speak to you from an actual experienced ecologist's point of view, looking at these images. Thursday, go over to my.
Hang on. Let me slow you down, buddy. So this is tomorrow, Wednesday,
Tomorrow at
September
9 a.m.
17th at 9 a.m. on the Watching Humans channel, where all these shows are. But this is tomorrow, September 17th, 9 a.m. You in conversation with Laura Cunningham. It's important for people to really grok that. It's an important show.
Come with your questions. Come with your questions, everyone.
But wait, there's more. Then Thursday, you've got something planned as well?
Thursday, come over to my shark channel. We'll be talking about, do you have to be bitten by a shark before you can be considered a shark expert, which seems to be a trend on Shark Week. And on Friday, Skyjack Morgan is coming on here to talk about a topic he wants to talk about.
Wow. Cool. How did you connect with him?
Leah, months ago.
Right. Okay. She's met him and speaks very well. She wanted us, not without reason, to change our name from Skyjack, because there already is a Skyjack Morgan out there who's a vegan. But I figure we're different enough and not competing in the same market, and whatever. We are where we are.
It's not called Skyjack. It's Watching Humans.
No, I'm saying his own program. You have him on.
Eerily similar. Once you actually have the guy on, it's like, yeah, that's it's
whatever. Dude, Skyjack is not exactly a new phrase. So, and ours is hyphenated. So Skyjack Morgan is on when?
Friday, 9 a.m. All of them at 9 a.m.
Okay, cool.
What's Grok? Jack, I grok you. I don't get it.
Grok is isn't that from Clockwork Orange? Grok is to understand, I get. Pretty sure. My Drugis from, who's the original novelist who wrote A Clockwork Orange. This is brain. This is old brain.
Don't make us all look bad because we all know Stanley Kubrick.
He'd made the film based on the novel. Anthony Burgess just popped into my head. I could actually be right. The fact that it popped into my head is encouraging. Like that, I can't access more brain cells, but that popped into my head. I think that's who wrote A Clockwork Orange and wrote the word grok, and it became pop. Oh, that or it's Heinlein. That or it's that's Robert Heinlein. So, John Spear, you probably know where grok came from, or somebody here does. We got a pretty hip audience who would know where grok came from. Stranger in a Strange Land is Robert Heinlein. Thank you, Lynn. Very educated people remember people we used to read what are they called? Books. We used to read books and you learn stuff because it was like long form and you sink into information rather than a 30-second or 60-second TikTok video. Okay, Boomer.
We didn't, as usual, only scratch the surface of the material that was prepared for the day. Jack has a lot more footage. I guess we'll get to it.
You can show some of it with Laura, obviously, right? Because I don't know what she shot, but you're welcome to use that stuff, of course.
Yeah, she has some photos, but thank you. I will. I'll have it queued up and ready. And if you'll be in the questions if you're available.
I've got a couple meetings, but I think I can be there for at least the start of it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It depends on my schedule. I might have a 9:30 Zoom, but I like to be, yes. And just this picture on the bottom left that you put up skyward. So that's me with Charity Kahn, activist, vegan, singer-songwriter. She sung several Point Reyes songs. And Diana Oppenheim, whom you know, and I met, actually the day I met her, that is the day I met you. Mm-hmm. And For Elk was her organization. This is her first time, well, both their first time. I wanted to be there when they saw that a quarter mile of the 8-foot tall elk fence had been removed, because I knew that would be an emotional, really sweet moment. And I look for those because God knows there's always the next fight, and we're always on the not always on the losing side, but always on the minority side of these issues. But she was out there and saw that the fence had been come down and the elk were freed, and that's where we saw them, a mile or two away on some of the ranches. It was a beautiful moment.
Jack, thanks for being here. Thanks everyone who was in the chats today. And great footage, by the way. And thanks for sharing it with us. And look forward to people coming back tomorrow. Laura is a great wealth of information, so take advantage of it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thanks, Skyward. Thanks for hosting and setting this thing up as always. Corinne asks, Skyward, did you actually see body dumps at PRNS at Point Reyes?
It's in the first batch of FOIA documents that were released by the Center for Biological Diversity. I read through these things back when I made the original Shame of Point Reyes. Barbed wire dumps, vegetation dumps, carcass dumps, bone dumps. Yeah. Wow. All things that were only ever documented because of citizens coming across them, not because of the Park Service as usual.
Yeah, by the way, anybody who's listening, and I'm hoping Jocelyn's out there too, I got to speak to her about this. This is a really great time to go out and document what the ranches are right now. They're not closed. They're still in operation. Because as a year from now, it'll be, oh, well, that was a closed ranch. It's not fair. Right now, you can show the level of decay. There's not a lot of workers there. There's not a lot of animals there compared to what there were. And document what the hell is there now, because it's going to be gone, and we need a document of it, a record of it.
That's why I'm so glad I have the footage of those signs from 2021, 2022, and here in 2025. They weren't ever going to make progress. Don't ever try to blame the absence of the ranches for the weed takeover, like Bay Denatured magazine is claiming.
I love that you say that now. Thank you.
Jack coined it. Let me know when I have to start paying to use it.
No. Credit's always nice, but I want everyone to use it widely. Just call it Bay Denatured and shame them into actually giving a hoot about actual nature, not cattle nature and chemical company nature. Bay Nature, my keister. Anyway, thanks everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Skyward's show with Laura Cunningham. Yay!
See everyone tomorrow.